Does WWE have a big Cody Rhodes problem, or is there no problem at all? Let's get into this debate. Before any of you get to your keyboards with scathing comments, this isn't a criticism of Cody Rhodes at all. His reign as WWE undisputed champion so far has been too short to really give it a valid stamp of approval, or it's this or it's that. Yeah, the jury's still out because it's still happening. We'd argue that everything that has been done so far has proven why WWE's on the right end of Roman Reigns' historic run. It needed to end, and something else has begun and is in motion. This video is more about the larger problem that WWE faces with Cody Rhodes as its champion right now, and it's sort of a good problem. Barring any major injuries that force him to vacate the title, it seems pretty safe to speculate that Cody Rhodes could be the top WWE champion for quite some time. Not necessarily a 1,300-day plus long record-breaking title reign, but maybe a year, maybe more. This directly ties into one of the issues that WWE has faced creatively under Triple H and his era since 2022. Unlike his father-in-law, the game prefers a more safe and predictable approach to long-term storytelling. And this isn't as bad as it may sound, and why is that bad at all? We'll get into all of it, and we'll break it all down. This is Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin Callum. Let us know what you think of Cody Rhodes as the top champion in wrestling in the comments below. The issue we're bringing up is actually more of a byproduct about commitment and focus on telling a story for the long haul with satisfying payoffs. The big downside of this, considerably longer championship reigns and a lot fewer spur-of-the-moment surprising title changes that used to happen for years. When you condition the audience to one thing, they get used to that, and then it changes and you have to recondition them to a different groove, a different way of telling stories. The argument some make in favor of surprise title changes is that it happens quite a bit in sports like MMA and boxing, for example. There have been a lot of times when a dominant champion who was the favorite to win a fight lost to an underdog. Ronda Rousey was arguably the biggest example of that in the sports world in 2015. The idea behind that is it makes wrestling, pro wrestling, seem more legitimate and gives it more of a sports-like feel. The other side of the argument is that professional wrestling is completely different from MMA and other combat sports, and the idea behind wins and losses is to drive stories ahead with the characters. Both are valid arguments in their own way. But Triple H's approach to storytelling is the reason why we've seen so many long championship reigns happen before and during this transitionary period that WWE has been in since 2022. Roman Reigns, Gunther, Seth Rollins, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Austin Theory, and the Usos are many examples of this. Except for Bianca Belair, Austin Theory, and Ripley, all other long title reigns were designed in such a way that they could really only have a big payoff on a huge stage like WrestleMania. And while the title changes at WrestleMania obviously worked, a majority of fans enjoyed them, context here is important. I know, we're getting the tweezers out. Some would claim we're still in the honeymoon phase of WWE's new era, and it's only a matter of time before a more vocal part of the fan base gets fickle and begins getting tired with what they feel is a predictable or missing some show that has that spontaneous moment that happens during a year. But, you know, these are the same people that forget Money in the Bank is coming up. It's probably okay for the more casual fan who keeps tabs on WWE now and then and tunes in for maybe just WrestleMania season, but for a large dedicated fan base that watches week to week, it's not unfair to expect some type of incentive and keep watching throughout the year. But isn't that the idea of long-term payoffs? We're not arguing against having big WrestleMania payoffs because of all the champions we mentioned. They've lost their titles in spectacular fashion. There's still moments, but our perspective here is simply that there needs to be a bit of balance between those big predictable payoff moments that we've anticipated and we get and they pay off, and wow, we didn't see that coming. Does the safe, predictable booking of championship reigns mean that fans are treated to fewer surprises and fewer shocking moments from April to January? Is that just the natural cycle of things that we're going to see now? We're going to give WWE the benefit of the doubt and assume that there's something they're learning as they develop an even better, more advanced, modern process to what they're doing now. And when you look at the nitty-gritty, stepping away objectively from whether you're a casual or a diehard fan, you can easily realize how difficult a job it is to create a fluid, creative product that WWE has as a three-ring televised circus that doesn't stop. So credit is where it's due to everyone involved in crafting what WWE is doing now, especially during the tumultuous transitions that we've seen in recent years. Based on the opening segment of Raw after WrestleMania 40, where the tone was really set for this new Triple H era, it's very likely that Cody could be the one facing The Rock at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas in 2025. Maybe not even Roman Reigns, but obviously so much could change before then as well. The Rock told Cody that their story was only beginning, which is a pretty good reason to assume that Cody isn't losing that WWE Championship anytime soon. But how good can his championship reign go if he's only going to start picking up once megastars like Roman Reigns and The Rock return? Well, assuming Cody faces Roman Reigns at SummerSlam or another big event, or The Rock at WrestleMania, that would make it only 2 significant storylines in a year-long championship reign, which isn't very good when you consider how you look at it. But that's also looking at it with just the biggest names possible. Are you the people that are also forgetting how good the match was with AJ Styles in France? Yeah, Backlash. Listen to the crowd. It also falls into the tricky category of the chase always being better than the catch and the actual championship reign. Don't let revisionists tell you otherwise, because even WWE's biggest draw in Stone Cold Steve Austin was almost always better chasing after a WWE title than when he was actually the world champion. It's an interesting problem, but a problem nonetheless, and it's not the worst one to have by any means. On the flip side of this argument, Triple H's safe and some would say predictable approach has led to many incredible storyline moments. The results speak very loudly, and WWE's hotter than it's ever been in a very long time. The numbers don't lie. With that being said, they can't rest on their laurels and gotta keep the edge very sharp. And Cody Rhodes' situation is the best way to show that they are maybe not doing that every single week. At least, that's what some people would say. I would counter the argument that Cody Rhodes is the antithesis of the previous champion you've seen. He is a valiant champion, a fighting champion, not a chicken shiz champion who needs a lot of people around him to keep the storyline going and isn't actually defending the title on a regular basis. You're getting a fighting champion, and maybe fans who've been conditioned to Roman Reigns shows up, Roman Reigns' family helps him win a match, that formula, maybe they have to see the old formula revived again. Yes, a fighting champion. Wow, what a concept. Maybe it's just too predictable. Could the Cody Rhodes Championship reign not work because of that same approach of predictable, let's keep it going until the right payoff type ending? Yeah. Or does it need something different, like the previously done storylines with the Bloodline that are kind of being reintroduced right now? You've watched this far, and the most challenging thing I'll say is this. The biggest problem with the things being labeled so falsely as stale or losing their fresh feeling in week-to-week wrestling television is not anyone's fault on camera or behind the camera in WWE. The biggest problem is you and me. The modern wrestling fan has a multi-layered, endless 24/7 on-demand access to every grandiose offering of wrestling streaming just a couple clicks away to their heart's content. But when you have all of that, are you ever truly content with it? Our attention spans are now shorter than that of a goldfish in a jar because we've been doom scrolling hot wrestling takes, maybe even some just like this, and we need to sometimes go touch grass and remember that this era right now is about getting it back to clearly understood basic roles delivered by the biggest players to play those roles. championship titles being flipped from one wrestler to another for the sake of a championship title, cries of swerves that go nowhere, and maybe even the wrestlers who lose them who were interesting before going down nowhere with that angle. Would you want to see the WWE Championship treated like a wacky for sake of wacky 24/7 championship? No, I don't think many of you would, and that's why sustained title reigns matter. That's why Roman Reigns having the title as long as he did mattered. Now, is that something that matters in the present? That's an interesting question we have to ask ourselves. It's an apples and orange scenario. What do you think WWE can avoid to make Cody Rhodes as their champion so interesting and exciting? Let us know in the comments below. And always, thank you for watching.
I don't want edited in any capacity. Don't even edit this part.